Ross, been a good week after a win. How do you reflect on the Geelong game a few days on now?
We reviewed it, moved on. As I said in the press conference, we've got a lot of work to do. But it was a pleasing result. So we responded quite well to a disappointing round one. But we've got plenty of challenges, as everyone has. But it just points to the evenness of the competition. And we're squarely focused on trying to improve and play to a level that can allow you to compete at AFL level.
Why do you think at Marvel Stadium you're playing so well? I mean, I know around the country you've got how do I say this? Like, it depends who you're playing. You know, like at Kilda Park you've got a poor record. In Perth,
have we?
A recent record.
We lost by a kick there last year.
Yeah, but you've lost the last 12 at Kilda Park.
I've only been here 2 years, mate.
What I'm saying
that
is
would be
Marvel
2 games.
Stadium's record's pretty good. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think you go to people's home ground records. Geelong are pretty good at Geelong. I think interstate, for whatever reasons, I think if you're looking at numbers, the percentages go down, don't they? Like home ground advantage, there's obviously a comfort to it. Yeah, is it a bit about the roof and that? I don't know. But since I've been here, like we've won at Subiaco. Oh, we don't play there anymore, do we? So I was reminiscing. Freudian slip. Yeah, Optus Oval. We beat Sydney in Sydney. So we've had, we beat the Giants out at Homebush or whatever it is. So I feel like, we want to build to be an anytime team. So it's good to get in front of your home fans and play with some passion. And we prepared well for Geelong. It's really important. We're from home yesterday, focusing on Richmond, so there's no distractions. Come in pretty sharp to match committee. So I think it starts at the top. It starts with our coaches preparing really well, not breathing out. So yeah, we're squarely focused on improvement. I think the narrative's out there. We're basically the third youngest list in the AFL, but that's not an excuse for. There'll be reasons why we don't always get it done, but you can always work on your footy and work hard. So that's what we want to pride ourselves on.
When you say good win, you move on. Listening to John Longmire last night, he said sometimes you like players to stew in a loss. On the flip side of that, do you sometimes want your players to sort of marinate in that victory to get that feeling of it, to want that back the next week?
I don't know, what's the question?
Well, do you want why do you need to move on so quickly? You've had such a great win against Geelong.
Yeah.
Do you want to spend 24 hours going, that was great, let's bask in that for a bit and then move on?
I think it applies to all industries. Yours, how long do you marinate in your last piece to camera? Like, you've got to move on and produce your next bit of work or you end up out of a job, right? We live in the same space, so you're only as good as your next moment. I think you learn from it. It's a fierce cycle of commit, do, review, the AFL. And it's just 24 hours. Vince Lombardi, isn't it? Team's finest moment. It's like exhausted and victorious in the change room. So during the game, it's nothing but hard work. And then you've got to move on quick because the cycle of AFL footy dictates that. I wish we could marinate in it, but all you can do is learn. We've got a growth mindset and you just got to work hard. All industries are hard. Everything's cutthroat. Media's cutthroat. So if you keep looking back, you can't see where you're going. We just wanted to keep moving forward.
There was so much talk about Richmond during the pre-season about how they were going to perform, and they showed in the first 2 weeks that if you underestimate them, they'll get you. So you said match committee was yesterday. How high on the list was not underestimating them and complacency and the like? Yeah,
well, they're not words I think you're right. I think there's a lot of talk about everyone pre-season. The news cycle's ferocious, isn't it? And it's great to see Channel 7 really competing with Nine and Footy Classified, right? So I think Kara's done a good job, agenda setters. So we don't underestimate it. We're not in a position to. I think if you're Brisbane, to be honest, I've had teams in the past that just kicked them down the race and they won. Do you know what I mean? Because we got to a level of our DNA of how we competed and how we played, and the list capabilities at the Saints and Fremantle were really strong. So in the end, you could just kick them down the race. So we're not at that level. We're emerging. We're trying to emerge. We're on the street finding our way out. So every opponent's tough, and every coach. What I do, I've tapped out of media, right? So, but I do like other coaches' press conferences because they give you insights, and every coach talks about the evenness of the competition. So we understand the threats of
complacency. You encouraged everyone to watch Sandy on Sunday.
Pardon?
You You encouraged us all to watch Sandy on Sunday.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Trevally was pretty impressive.
What'd you like about his game?
We had 9 tackles. I thought that was pretty
impressive. Yeah.
How close is he to?
Yeah, he's in the mix. We've got a couple to get through today, but we did lose a couple stocker with concussion. Really, can you have a low-level concussion? I think it is because all these markers are back, so it was a great tackle, chase down. I was sort of marinating that one, but and then Hunter Clark's just an abdominal issue. We're really disappointed because you really need continuity to build a great season, so he'll miss. So Sharman will definitely play as long as he gets through today. He's $1,000,000 and then from there we're going to make a decision on the balance of the team, but we've got a couple to get through. But he's right in the mix, as is Boxall. It was great to see Lance Collard last week, another young player. So and Kilda, he'll maintain his spot. So plenty. He had some good moments, but he also learned how tough the game is.
What have you taken out of Richmond's 2 games so far?
Yeah, look, I look at they're young, so we understand the challenges. Like you look at Adelaide, they're in their 6th year, and of a rebuild and starting to click. So, they've been a great. They had a dynasty. They're rebuilding. They're down back, in particular in the midfield. They're pretty strong. If they had Presta in there, with Taranto and Hopper and all that, and Nankervis, that's pretty elite. And McIntosh, so that's really strong. Broad, Short, Vlosten, they're there. And Lynch comes back in. It's probably around those flanks and that they're like us or Geelong were a young team on the weekend. I thought that got lost a bit as well. So, that they'll probably be a little bit inconsistent at times, but they compete fiercely. They can defend really well if you don't use the ball well. So, we know players like Taranto and Hopper. They're elite centre square bounce. They sit in the top 3. We know those things. So they're really capable at any time. I think we're seeing that in the competition.
What did you make of all your old mates being in the change rooms after game on?
Who's that?
Joey and Rewalt and Squilt there as well, and all their kids.
Yeah, it talks to, Dave Misson, head of football operations, the relaunch of our father, son and daughter academy. It's not based on talent. We just want engagement. We want to build the fabric of the club. And so to see them in there and their sons, to see Jimmy Gwilt in there, Jason Graham and, the other guys was, I think, it was nourishment for me that, people are coming back to the club and want to be a part of the club. It's really that connection piece with our past players is really important. And the father, son and daughter, we don't want it based on talent. In the end, the talent may pop out, but from a young age, we want them to come back because they spent, the formative part of their lives here. So it's pretty special.
What's the biggest change in coaching from when you were steering them to the group you're steering now?
I got a facility. I got a facility, thank you.